morning. Welcome to the Pitch Chronicles. I am Uncle Tats, and jumping in at the last second, we got Luca joining us today, and we want to wish everybody a great day. And I got to start off the show. Luca, I'm going right to the comment section, bro. There's a comment here from our friend Jake. It definitely wasn't just Warren. They need an entirely new offense too. And I'm going to explain to you why I had chose to set the title with Warren. Okay, he is supposed to be the guy that is. Well, give him credit. He stays healthy. He's ready to go every fifth day. When you have a start from Schlittler, the way that he did in game one of this 4-game set, this very important 4-game set with the Rays that you are now chasing because you are completely inept at playing baseball as a team overall. You're supposed to carry the mantle and get ready. You're supposed to be able to kind of continue the momentum, right? And a lot of this, I'm putting on Boone. Why is Warren following Schlittler, bro? Why wasn't this was that last night was the perfect start for Garrett Cole to get right. Warren, look, he's a number 5. He may be a 4 in some other pitching staffs in the American League. I don't think in the National League he'd be considered a starter in a rotation at all. Warren is a guy that I really wanted to rally around and believe that he can be that fortified 5th to reset the table for the top of the rotation. He has the stuff. He absolutely has the stuff to be a legitimate pitcher in this league. And this year, he has not matched what he did last year. He doesn't have the same swing and miss stuff that he did a year prior. And to me, that's alarming. Yeah. And that's the struggle. The struggle is not that he's a 5-starter that gave up a couple of runs in an inning. It's kind of expected, but Warren was supposed to be the anomaly of a 5th starter, and that's why I'm singling him out. Are you seeing the way? Do you see it the way I see it? Do you see it a different way? How do you analyze Will Warren's struggles as we get into the dog days of summer?
Honestly, I mean, you could make this into a whole rotation thing with him and Weathers. They're regressing back to the mean. They started off the season really well, Weathers and Warren. They were pitching really well, giving us long outings. And we're like, okay, maybe we don't need Tariq Skubal. Maybe we don't need another starting pitcher. Well, now we're in the dog days of summer, Tats, as you mentioned, and we're seeing them get exposed immediately by the best team in our division. We're sitting back, I think, now 5 games back in the division now. We've fallen out. And not to say that it's entirely the 4 games, my correction. Not to say that it's entirely the fault of the starting pitching, but the back end is playing a key part of it. Will Warren is not what he was to start the season, nor is Ryan Weathers. They're being exposed. They're regressing back to the mean. Warren, at best, is your back end number 5, but he's not as good as he should be or as good as he was to start the season. Yeah. Ryan Weathers, we're like, okay, maybe he's a potential piece to be in the back end of the rotation, or he could be a bullpen arm. Well, he's most likely belongs to the bullpen now. So now the Yankees are in a conundrum where it's like, okay, is this sustainable? Are they just struggling for the sake of struggling, or are they just regressing back to the mean and we have to find new roles for them and we have to acquire a starting pitcher? Because I've mentioned this the last time I was on here. I was like, is this just a fluke? Is this them struggling? Do we need more starting pitching? Because I keep mentioning the amount of holes that the Yankees have, number 1. Number 2, how bad the American League is, and there's going to be plenty of suitors for plenty of positions. So it's not going to be easy to fix those holes, and that's on Brian Cashman ultimately.
I'm definitely, leaning towards putting all of the blame on Cashman. you know, as much as we criticize Boone for some of the his bullpen decisions within the game, we could always criticize, but he can only work with the roster that's been given to him. And believe me, Bone's the poster boy for a lot of the struggles because you're the manager. When you're the leader of that club and you're the manager, you have to, you're the guy that's got to stand in front of everybody and take all the slings and arrows that come your way. Absolutely. But that's the one that's orchestrated this whole thing. And I think that his comfortability in his position, we've all been, when you're in a job for a long time, you do gain a little bit of comfort.
Oh, hell yeah.
Right? We've all been there, and we've all been the new guy on the job where you could tell the veterans that are like, they say these are the rules, but
they can get away with certain things.
You get away with, yeah, exactly. The rules become a little more fluid as you gain experience, and it's an unfortunate part when it comes into sports. But at the end of the day, a job's a job, and these guys are not doing their job. And that's the upsetting part. Because one of the things we talk about, we circle back and we said a couple weeks ago, the way this rotation was looking, Skubal wasn't a priority.
No.
And how fast that narrative has turned for myself, and I'm sure you as well. I don't want to assume your mindset, but Skubal now is really becoming a priority for this trade deadline. And I don't think the Yankees have the trade capital to do it.
I don't think so either, Uncle Tats. I mean, people have also mentioned Joe Ryan, but the thing is with Joe Ryan, the Twins are 1.5 games back of the wild card, so they're
still in it. They're not moving a guy like Joe Ryan.
That goes for the same thing with Jeffers on another note. But yeah, that was my mindset a couple of weeks ago. I was like, okay, we don't need Skubal. He's more of a luxury. You would be adding on to an already good rotation. But as I said, like last time I was on here, if the Yankees are going to trade for Skubal, you're going to use all your prospect capital and not be able to trade for anything else. You're probably going to trade Dax Kilby and George Lombard and all those guys for Skubal. You're not going to be able to fill the catcher position for this year. You're not going to be able to trade for Ryan Jeffers. You're not going to be able to trade for the guy from the Rockies. You're not going to be able to trade for a third baseman. You're not going to be able to do that because you're going to use all that capital on one trade, which sucks. But that's the truth. That's the sad truth when what happens when you do not fill certain holes, when you just constantly procrastinate those holes, when you keep pushing it to next year, like, oh, we'll fill this hole next year. We'll fill this hole at the deadline. It's the truth. And the Yankees are now left in this predicament now.
Yep. And I want to highlight some of the comments as we keep going before we start bouncing around to other things. I hope I'm pronouncing this right. Enrique Moran, 1238. Get him out of the rotation. I don't think it's the fact of him getting out of the rotation. My concern with Warren right now, hey, Bubby, is the fact that if you really wanted to have trade capital, like we were just saying a second ago, the last thing you want to do is have a downside of Will Warren where he's not tradable. Weathers could easily be slotted into the bullpen spot. But Will Warren, I think his value is starting pitching.
Yes.
But at the same time, if he's going to be having performances like this, you are just, it's, I'm saying this absolute as a joke, sarcasm, tongue in cheek, whatever, you want, however you want to put it. But it's almost like, Warren's like, shit, trade deadline's coming. I don't want to go anywhere. Let me ruin my value, and then I'll pick it back up after the trade deadline.
Yeah.
that's the crazy mentality some of these players have. They don't want to go anywhere. So they play themselves to stability. And it's, like I said, it's a complete joke. There's no way that Will Warren, an absolute professional, is going to do that. But it does, it makes me wonder, and I got a little bit of a chuckle out of that while I was thinking of it. But oh, the Yankees seriously need some rotation help. So now, and that's the bigger problem. You need a catcher. You need a second baseman that keeps his head in the game. They need to make a decision on who they're going to play a shortstop on an everyday basis. The third baseman can't hit a lick. And above all, you have a bullpen and a catcher that is completely inept.
Exactly.
We may be seeing ourselves after these next two games a hopeless season. And that's a spot that we're not used to at this point in the season.
No. So here's some stats, Uncle T. Will Warren had a 2.39 ERA through his first 7 starts, but he's followed his last 11 with a 5.34 ERA. He has not gotten through 6 innings since the month of May. You're talking 2 months.
And that's alarming. Yeah, and we'll let the dog out. No, when you hear those numbers, you're like, and that's what really was pissing me off is the bar was so high for him.
Yeah.
He could have been the perfect piece to move to the NL for somebody that just needed a healthy, reliable swing and miss pitcher to solidify the back end of a rotation going into the postseason. He has pitched himself to the point where you don't even want him on a postseason roster.
Yeah, he's
at this stage of the game of the season, that's not the spot you want to be in. You don't want to be just kind of mediocre. You want to stand out above the crowd. Warren doesn't have that. He's completely lost it. Last year, he could have easily been a number 3 on any team with the way he was getting swing and misses. All right, ERA aside, his swing and miss stuff was there. He had the record for, in his rookie year for strikeouts by a rookie. Let's not forget that. Right. And this year is completely, now, is it just that sophomore slump where he's just maybe got a little too comfortable with himself? This is not the season to have that.
It's not.
It's hard to regain your dominance, especially in professional sports. I don't care what sport you're playing. Regaining your dominance is not easy. Because there's always somebody looking over your shoulder looking to take your spot. But unfortunately, the Yankees don't have that prospect for a number 5 that's lurking over his shoulder. So you end up just being complacent.
100%. I mean, also another stat, Will Warren's also given up 20 earned runs in his last 6 starts. That's just quite as alarming. And what I was going to say was, we were having this debate like weeks or months ago. We were like, okay, if you had to choose between the two, whether it was Weathers or Warren, who would you trade? Who would you keep and why? I don't remember who I chose. I'll be quite honest with you. I think I said I wanted to trade with Warren. And I think I kind of stand right on that. But what the hell's his value now?
Repeat that again. Sorry.
No, I was saying a few weeks ago, possibly months ago, the starting rotation was so good that we were awaiting Fried's return. I think it was either Fried or Rodon or Cole. We were like, okay, choose between these 2 pitchers. Or you said on the show, Weathers or Warren. Who would you trade? Who would you keep and why? I was actually, I love thinking I think I said I would trade Will Warren. I could go back. I don't know. Maybe I go
Yeah,
back.
no, you and Donald were willing to trade Warren, move Weathers to the pen.
Exactly.
I believe that I was willing. If I had to trade one of them, I thought at that stage Weathers was pitching a little better, so I thought that he had a little more trade value.
Right.
Um, and I would have utilized, I would have put. I think I said I put ERC in the bullpen just to get him some experience with major league at bats without the pressure of having to get length.
Yeah.
I believe that's the way that played out. I could be wrong. Shocker. But no, at this stage, I don't think either one of them have any value with Warren and Weathers.
No.
There's nobody kicking down the door for these guys to, like I said, just to solidify a back end of a rotation.
No.
It's a sad state. And think about the names that you said that we were waiting, if so and so came back with Cole, Rodon, and Freed. And Freed. Those are three legitimate pitchers.
Yeah.
Despite of what our thoughts are with Rodon, he's still, he's a legit pitcher. His health has really set him back since signing that contract.
Yeah.
And it's a shame because prior to that, when we were getting Rodon, we were ecstatic as Yankee fans.
Oh, hell yeah. Same with me.
Right? We could have, that year he had with San Francisco was like, holy shit, this guy's really figured it out. Go get him. So, and I think with fans, the biggest issue with that contract was the contract length itself.
Right.
Not it was the length that we had to go to. But let's rewind the tape a little bit. Right? If we don't, and this happens, and we're using Rodon because of the pitching right now, but this could apply to any player that we've acquired in free agency. Freed also. What would the narrative have been if we had let Freed or Rodon walk because we didn't want to add that extra year? Oh, see, they're cheap. They're worried about their payroll. They're not committed to winning. How could you pass on this guy? Look at the year he had. It's one extra year. So what? Well, because we're not getting what we want, now it's a bad deal. You rewind it back to the last trade deadline. We acquired all these guys. I was cheering. Hey, we didn't trade all our prospects for rentals. We have guys that are under control that may be able to catch fire for a year or two. It's not working out. Do I think that now that the trade deadline was a bust? I can't. I really want to be able to say, Cashman sucks. He doesn't know how to make trades. He trades for the wrong guys all the time. But he tried something different last year. So we're stuck with Bird and Duvall.
I'll be the one. I'll be honest. I'll be the one to say that deadline was a bust. I actually said infamously last year on my brother's last stream that I wouldn't have went all at the deadline because I didn't believe in the team. I was not a fan of McMahon. Duvall, I liked his stuff, but he's absolutely stunk, and he should be a DFA candidate pronto. Jake Bird, I did not like, and I'm proven right on that. But yeah, that was the crux of the deadline last year, and swing and a miss, swing and a miss, swing and a miss. So it was a failure by result. Doesn't matter, I don't think it matters what you said, what one said at the time. Hey, I really like this, and now you don't like you see it, you react to it, and say, you know what, that was a bust. That was a bad move by result. Rodon, good move. I mean, I was a fan of the move at the time, but I think the one obvious red flag was the injuries, and we've seen that come through in his Yankees tenure. Not that he's been a horrible pitcher, but it's just been the injuries nonstop that has deflated his possible potential. So it's not to say that he has a horrible contract, but the risks the one red flag that came in before the contract is rearing its ugly head, obviously, with the health. I thought the Freed contract, honestly, was going to burn us. I liked him a lot as a pitcher with the Braves, but it seems he's also had a knack for also getting injured.
Yeah.
And I said to one of my friends at the time, I was like, "Yeah, I like Freed a lot. I'm just not sure about the 7-year contract." He's like, because I said because of the health and the arm injuries. He's like, "Well, don't worry about it. Freed's a good enough pitcher." And I'm like, "Okay." And it's not, I'm not saying Freed or Rodon's like a horrible contract, but the Yankees are seeing these risks. They're like, "Okay, play on then."
Want to welcome the Buck Skull Gang and House to the chat. We do have an open chat. You don't have to be a subscriber to comment today because there's a lot to go over. And when we have a lot to deal with, we try to leave the comment section open as kind of a thank you to you guys that tune in every day. If you are joining us for the first time, hope you consider subscribing. I did highlight one comment from Buck right here. As a Rays fan, how do we separate these two teams? Do you think this is? I'm assuming you're trying to say an even playing field for both teams. Now the even playing field, I think that when you look at the lineup up and down, I think they're pretty comparable. I think the top of the Rays rotation lineup is as strong as any in baseball. And the same can be said for the Yankees. So the top of the lineup, I believe, is very comparable.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Pitching, the Rays have us in spades. They always do. And it comes down to one thing that puts the Rays above the Yankees every year. Manager. I have said this over and over and over again. Kevin Cash, I think, is a top 3 manager in the game right now. He's the top of the heat. Because no matter who the GM brings into that organization, he brings the best out of them. Like Susan Waldman jokes around all the time. If the Rays call you about a pitcher, don't make that move. Because they see something that you just haven't figured out yet. Like their scouting and for the GM scouting department is, I think, by far one of the best in the game.
Oh,
they have a knack for seeing things that we can't. But I do believe what you're saying. That I think whether it's the Rays or the Yankees, to take whoever takes the divisions, taking the AL, I think that's the battle that it's going to be. I don't think because we thought the Rays were starting to fall off. We thought they were starting to level out because even last year they came out like a firestorm. It has kind of leveled out and has never regained that momentum. They've regained momentum this year. And when you have the leadership that the Rays do, it's hard to put ice on that. I think it's going to come down to the Yankees, the Rays, and the White Sox. I don't think there's any other three teams in the AL that can really make a legit postseason run.
Yeah, I completely agree.
All three teams need a lot of help in the trade deadline. It's not like they can't just ride this out. They still, because all three teams need to really lock in the back end of their lineup. Because once you get through their key guys, it's almost like it's an automatic.
Yeah,
to get through the next couple of innings.
Oh, 100%. Look at the payroll. It's a difference. Buck Skull Gang and House says, yeah, the Rays have a fraction of the payroll the Yankees do. And I'm pretty sure with obviously that comes from the previous owner, Stuart Sternberg. Yeah. Now they have new ownership. So now that they will eventually get to start to spend money again, obviously pending the lockout or whatever you want to say. But yeah, I think the Rays would be up. My formal opinion with the way they handle their scouting and everything, with the way they handle the roster on a very shoestring budget, if they had a more advanced budget like the Yankees did, or they spent like the Dodgers, anybody could, but realistically, they'd be one of the best. They'd be one of the top 2 teams in baseball, in my opinion.
If they had that under Kevin Cash,
yes,
I think they would have that Dodgers type run.
Yeah.
where they're just they would appear unbeatable. And it comes down to leadership. And the Yankees are lacking that.
Oh,
It's not the
100%.
players on the field. They look, they're Major League Baseball players for a reason. Now, when you have the proper leadership to keep them playing at their peak, that's when you make a great player exceptional.
Yes.
And that's the difference between Boone and Cash.
Without a doubt. Without a doubt.
Right. So yeah, we're not going to see to be like, we're not going to beat our chest because of our payroll buck, and say we're the superior team. We see the record this year. We're not. We're not the superior team.
Mind you,
And I wish I could, because it would make it a lot more fun to just have a back and forth of, well, my team's better because of this. My team's not better, especially when you don't have a rotation that you can rely on. Your bullpen you can't rely on, and when your star player, who's the face of baseball, is on the IL, everything else falls apart.
yeah. We're
absolutely better with Judge. That's why I mentioned him last, because that's the pinnacle of it.
Yeah.
That's when everything went to shit.
I want to get into the lineup real quick because obviously Ben Rice hit a home run yesterday, but he's overall been slumping. Paul Goldschmidt has had a
330.
He's had a 346 OPS since June 26th. I want to get into talk about him a little bit. But Cody Bellinger's been horrible. Did you see his away and road split, away and home splits, Uncle T?
I haven't.
Listen to this. So home games, he's elite. 8 home runs, 32 RBIs, 329 average, 409 on base percentage, 604 slugging, and OPS over 1,000. Get ready for his road splits.
Oh, God.
Three home runs, 18 RBIs, 180 batting average, 286 on base percentage, 264 slugging, and a 550 OPS. That is why Bellinger is tanking, and that's why people are calling him a fluke and a fraud.
I don't think. See, I think that's unfair to Goldie.
No, I was talking about Bellinger.
Oh, Bellinger. Sorry, Bellinger's been, take away the home and road splits. Like, Bellinger's been one of the reliable guys that we've had.
He has, but you have to be able to.
But you have to but you have to put respect on the numbers for what they are. Baseball's a numbers game. And maybe he needs more off day, but where's the health on the club to give him an off day? You sent Jones down. Who are you putting in there?
No, listen, I don't disagree with you. I think the problem is for me with Bellinger is that, he's one of our all-stars. He's one of our 4 all-stars.
Yes.
He has to be able to play on the road, especially that the Yankees are probably, if we go months ahead into September and October, the Yankees are likely going to be playing without home field advantage. We need him to hit on the road. I mean, his splits are downright embarrassing. If you want to go further, Uncle T, last 30 games, 196, 270 on base percentage. I mean, this has been a really bad slump for Bellinger, while people starting to call him a fraud and whatever. But I have an even more pressing note that has been cemented on this show, not only by myself, but mostly Donald, I must say. I know he's on vacation. So this was brought up in my Twitter feed, and I must bring it up. Apparently, Michael Kay has heard from multiple people that the Yankees asked Volpe to play some second base in the minors. Volpe said, "No, I'm a shortstop."
I know that I saw a video on another channel, and I heard the clip from Kay when it came out, and if this is true, I would DFA him right now. You haven't earned the right to have that level of an ego.
That level of hubris, yep.
You haven't earned it. Shit, fucking. As much as we hate Jazz Chisholm, not that we hate him, right?
Right.
As much as we don't appreciate his on-field play and his style, right? He went to third base when he wasn't even ready for it, just to do what the team needed him to do. We've seen, Caballero's an infielder. Now he's playing the outfield. We've seen it with Urshela. We've seen it with multiple players that they get thrown into positions that, where they may not necessarily be, drafted for that position. But look, we need, if this is going to work, we need you to be a little versatile.
Yeah.
If he's putting his foot in the ground with the years that with the career that he's had, he's got to go. And that's all, that's all, if this is all true. I would wish that, I'm sure that if Kay brought this up, there's some validity to it. He wouldn't have put it out there for smoke and mirrors. As much as I'm not a fan of Michael Kay, he's still a respected reporter. I'd have to believe that whoever he was talking to, but it's almost like when you're a kid with that game of telephone. By the time it gets to you, who knows what the message originally was?
That's true.
If the original content, the original conversation could have gone, well, you're not playing shortstop anymore. You're playing second base. Yeah, but I really enjoy playing shortstop. I think I can improve on it. And then as it goes through all the message boards,
it gets twisted.
Well, no, I'm a shortstop. So I want to err on the side of caution with this one. But if it's true, he's got to go.
He's not going to, though. I hear you. I completely agree with you. He's not.
Oh, he ain't going anywhere. He's Boone's baby. He ain't going. And that's what pisses us off. Again, he doubled down, saying how Caballero is going to be seeing more time at shortstop. That next game, Volpe's there. So that's twice. That's twice he's told us Caballero is our shortstop. And Volpe's in the lineup the next day at short. Boone wants to make the excuse. Boone, how about this? Shut the fuck up.
Yeah, I agree, but
I know you're trying to, you appreciate his versatility in Caballero. We all do. We like that he's, he plugged in and still give us legitimate, solid at bats, positive base running numbers. Stop telling us he's going to be the shortstop. How about that? You're such a media man. You don't even know how to address the media. You don't even know how to answer questions properly. That was supposed to be his biggest strength, was handling the media. Well, how about handling the media, talk to the media for us as fans? Stop gaslighting us. Enough's enough. If he would have just said, look, with Volpe healthy, I'm going to try to make sure that we utilize Caballero as best we can to help our team win. Nobody says a fucking word about it. We're all content with that. All right. Hot player, still in the lineup every day. Cool. He lacks the ability to understand how he's messaging things. That was the whole reason you were hired, bro. I'm going to use one of my boss's favorite terms right now. And we all joke about it at night. Dan, sorry I'm using this. But not good, bro. Not good. Whenever we hear my boss say that, we know that shit we have really fucked up. He doesn't yell. He's like, not good, bro. Not good. That's Boone.
Yeah, unfortunately. Just saw a comment I wanted to get to.
Mm-hmm.
Itchy Nut says last year Volpe hit 19 home runs with over 70 RBIs. The issue is definitely him at shortstop, not the bat. I disagree. Him having a sub 700 OPS is not good enough for somebody who was supposed to be a top prospect. It goes both ways. He's not good enough offensively. He's porous defensively. He constantly lets the ball play him. So, and I know somebody was on Twitter just saying, "Oh well, he's doing what the anti-nerds asked. He's not trying to swing for the home run, but it doesn't matter. He's not leveling out his approach. Look at the grand numbers. Look at his grand numbers. I'm going to pull them up right now. Anthony Volpe hitting 240 on the season, 1 home run, 13 RBIs. Okay, he's not hitting home runs. Fine. 338 on base percentage. Okay, could be a little higher. 664 OPS. That doesn't work. Over his last 7 games, he's 3 for 19. In the grand total of last 15, he's 196. In the last 30 games, 234. You look at his OPS across every single major league season, not one shred over 700. We're still defending this kid. Meanwhile, he has not hit for a 700 OPS, and he still has yet to improve in the field defensively. So I don't care about the home runs. I don't care about not hitting the home runs. This dude was supposed to be a top prospect, and he's failing. He has failed. And what I just iterated, the quote from Michael Kay talking about Volpe, I'm a shortstop. That sets the precedent because the Yankees obviously have their favorites. And the Yankees obviously just set a nasty precedent, letting this kid take the reign, letting this kid be the golden boy. Meanwhile, guys like Caballero are constantly thrown all around the field, and they screw up. It's like, oh, if Caballero screws up, it's bad. But Volpe, I can keep playing. Donnie, I completely agree. He absolutely deserves the starting short spot.
That's what I'm saying. Volpe has not earned the right to have the ego to say, I'm a shortstop. I'm going to say it again. This was all speculative. We don't know. It's not like he said it in front of the camera where there's an audio or visual to confirm what was said. Now, we'll make that very clear as we're going through this. This was something that was discussed from Michael Kay, who is respected, and it needs to be addressed and talked about amongst us as fans. Doran, what's going on? Listen, Luca, I'm going to indulge Doran for a second. Yes, because he's such a loyal friend, right? We're going to get this.
As
to the Pitch Track Chronicles, I'm Michael Tatz. I'm here with Luca. We are going to be continuing the discussion. Doran's always asking us for a restart when they get here late. I'm in a great mood. Wanted to reset the tone a little bit because, I don't want Volpe to keep ruining our show. I really don't. No, in all seriousness, right? This Yankee team is seriously having some troubles, and it's the leadership. It's always circling back to leadership, and it's unfortunate. It really is. You have a manager that doesn't know how to operate. That can't run a bullpen, never knows which switches to hit in certain in situations, and you have a GM who is so comfortable can do anything, and the owner's going to sign off on it because it's Cashman, and he's going to continue to give a subpar manager a subpar roster. You can't sell me a Pinto and expect me to make it run like a fucking Lambo. It doesn't. That's not how it works. when you have seasons like that, that's a pipe dream. Buck, you are really killing it with the comments. I appreciate you jumping in the chat. Hopefully, you're you're subbed up. If you're not, hopefully you do. If you're watching this and you're enjoying the content, you have a lot of fun with us. We are doing, yeah, I think we're doing a great job. Having a lot of laughs from a bad situation this season. Make sure you do hit that sub button and hit the like button. Big game hunting. I really don't think we have the cap. I've said this. It's your first time with us in the chat. We don't have the trade capital to fix everything. We need the back end of a rotation now. We need to secure the back end of the bullpen. We don't have a catcher. We have a third baseman that that can't hit. We have a medical team that can't keep anybody fucking healthy. A GM that thinks he's God, and a manager that thinks everybody walks on water. So it's gotcha, Luke. We're in this situation right now that this may be an actual lost season. These next two games might actually just really it's not our year. Now you just have to hope that you get into that situation where if you're going to have one record that you want to maintain this year, just keep your head above 500. But you're an exception. You are and I've said this, you've agreed with it, Luke, and a lot of you in the chat have. The American League is probably is in dire straits than it's ever been. And the Yankees are just the best team of a mediocre division, of a mediocre league. All the exceptional moments that we're going to have this year will all be for naught. Because once they get to the World Series, who are they beating? Who are they beating? They can't even. They can't get hits. Their runners in scoring position is absolute crap. You're making stupid base running decisions because you have no choice but to play aggressive when it's going to shoot you in the foot. You constantly it's mistake after mistake after mistake. And yes, the American League, Buck, is wide open. It's not. You're going to end up that, like I said, I think there's only 3 teams that can survive a playoff run. And if I have to put them in order, White Sox, Rays, Yankees. Because I have the Yankees. I still believe the Yankees are getting eliminated in the wild card series. That was my prediction at the start of the year. I thought I was being a little pessimistic, which is very unlike me for the start of the year. But man, it's looking like I was a fucking genius again. It's not the way it's supposed to be. We're supposed to be. This was our year with our roster, with our payroll, to go into this year with a weak American. We should have been breaking records left and right for all the right reasons, and we're breaking them for all the wrong ones. This season is just becoming an utter embarrassment. This is not just a bad stretch of baseball. If we have never had these boon swoons, as Chris Northrup calls them, I'm not saying what month, because it doesn't matter what month it is. It's going to happen. It's a boon swoon. This isn't like this is the first year this is going on. So you can't just say this is an anomaly of a season because of injuries. It's every freaking year, no matter what the roster looks like.
And they maintain the same mentality. They're like, "Oh, we're just fine. It's just another storm." Yeah. And then somebody mentioned in chat, Cashman will say at the deadline whether we acquire players or not. Max Fried, he's our deadline acquisition. They're going to say
Oh
all
God,
our
those
injuries.
words drive me nuts. Oh, I can't take it. Can't.
It's going to happen. And
I
it's
know it's
going to
gonna happen. It's gonna piss me off. I'm gonna have to buy a whole new computer because I'm gonna hit something.
I mean, we don't even know when Aaron Judge is returning. Stanton, we don't know when he's returning. Probably he's gone for the year. But it just shows you. I mean, no Aaron Judge, we stink. Completely agree. I mean, it shows you the roster can't be built around one player. But his big. I agree with Itchy Nuts' has come. Judge is 34 now. Time running out for him to win. Big mistake was vouching for Boone. Completely agree. I think he's a part of the leadership problem as well. Not to beat a dead horse, but I think he's a part of it. But yeah, the mentality, it's the same thing every summer. They go into a slump.
No.
They get exposed. They need patching up with roster holes, plenty of roster holes, and they're complacent. They're fine. I mean, you heard Boone's yesterday. Boone's comments in the post game yesterday. He was like, "Oh, I like our approach." Meanwhile, you scored 3 runs off of actually 4 runs. Excuse me. Majority off for Ben Rice. And then the previous game, the day before, was Jose Caballero putting up some magic with 2 home runs. So, no, it's the Yankees have a lot of holes in the lineup, a lot of holes in the bullpen, and now holes in the starting pitching.
Yeah, but it's a never-ending cycle every year.
That's what I'm trying to maintain.
Yeah, I'm like, we understand, we all respect consistency in sports, but not for this, not for these reasons. We want the positive consistency. If you see something's broke, fix it.
No, but listen, the Yankees,
And
everybody.
they can't get out of their own fucking way.
But the Yankees don't see it that way. The Yankees see it as, oh, we're fine.
Yeah, this is a championship caliber roster. Get the fuck out of here.
That's what's been happening for the past couple of years. Not to go into a whole soapbox about it, but that's what's happened. That's the mentality.
It's not a soapbox. It's frustration boiling over. They're on the soapbox telling us that, we're falling down a sinkhole, but at least we can still see the sun. Like their narrative is completely illegitimate now. Nobody buys a thing that they say.
That's true. Absolutely true. Life's a complete shit show. Completely agree. I know Dave Rose saying some medical doctor said there's no chance Judge will be ready by September. Well, then the Yankees are screwed then. And who can we be completely transparent? Who's to say that he's going to be back 100% hitting like the old Aaron Judge of old?
I think at this point, shut him down for the year. If you lose these next 2 games and you fall further back, just fucking wave your white flag. You have too many holes to fill. It's not happening.
And there's too many teams competing for the exact same players you're going to get. And then and fans are going to get pissed off when they see that Tariq Skubal comes off the board, and this guy comes off the board, and that guy comes off the board. Jeffers comes off the board. But the truth is, we don't have the prospect capital because Brian Cashman didn't fill in those holes when it was free agency, when you didn't even have to trade prospects, when all you could have done, well, truthfully, you could have traded guys in the offseason. Because it's cheaper to trade in the offseason, number one. Number two, you could have signed guys via free agency. You didn't do that. So now, as I say this every year, there's at least 1 or 2 positions that Brian Cashman does not fill that we have to go to the deadline for. Last year, that was third base. Last year was the bullpen. The year before, years before, it was either the outfield or shortstop or whatever. For the Yankees, it was second base, third base because DJ LeMahieu was so bad, and Gleyber Torres was playing second base. They had to move. They traded for Jazz Chisholm. Like, okay, you're playing third now. You're playing the outfield now. Embarrassing, absolutely embarrassing. And I'm not like frustrated. I'm not frustrated anymore because I'm gonna be honest with you. I don't see anything fucking changing. We've been through this damn movie anymore. If you want to push for change as a Yankee fan, I'm not going to tell you not what to do. Absolutely not. But if things didn't, I'll go through the whole cycle. If things didn't change after 2021 when they got bounced in the wild card by the Red Sox at Fenway Park, that was embarrassing.
That was
In
bad.
2022, they got swept by the Astros in the ALCS when they were making excuses about, oh, the roof was open and this, that, and the third. We have infinite series. You Clay Holmes not knowing he was available or if he was unavailable, and Harrison Bader not knowing if he was in the starting lineup or not. I mean, I was watching y'all guy Pinstripe Chronicle stream from nearly 4 years ago. Everything that was said in that stream you could place today and say, you know
Yeah.
what, that rings true. Boone being unprepared, the lineup sucking, players not knowing to hit runners in scoring position. We go on and on and on. 2023, completely missing the playoffs entirely. That would have been a perfect year to scrap the entire thing.
Yeah.
2024, losing the World Series in the most embarrassing fashion possible.
Yep.
That was the peak. That was the pinnacle of this window. It wasn't 2017. It was 2024. Like, okay, maybe we could do something this year. The AL looks kind of weak. We got Juan Soto, Aaron Judge, Gleyber Torres, all these different guys. You lose in 5 games in the most embarrassing fashion possible. Game 1, you already lost the series because that boneheaded decision. And then game 5 was the epic collapse. You blow a 5-run lead in the 5th inning, and you lose. But nothing changed. And nothing changed last year when you got bounced by the Blue Jays. You ran back essentially the same roster, and now you're paying for your arrogance. But at the end of the day, that's not how the Yankees organization sees it. And it's like if somebody has a drug or alcohol problem, you have to recognize a problem before you maintain having to look for a solution. But the Yankees don't see that they have a problem right now.
Like they say, the first step to fixing a problem is acknowledging you have one.
Exactly.
I want to have, you know what? I think we should switch it up for the last 10 minutes of the show. I had the After Dark show last night. A lot of fun. Yes. I really didn't have the right. I really apologize to everybody. I was trying not to wake my wife up, who's been under the weather. So I was a little more pulled back in my energy, and that's on me. But I promised the show I had to do something. So I do apologize again for the lack of energy. Hope you guys all understand. This is who I am. I'm very flamboyant. My hands go. I'm Italian. I go nuts, right? I made a statement. I want to know if you agree with me. If you're on the IL, you should be ineligible for votes in the All-Star game.
I completely agree because you're taking up somebody's spot that was healthy. That's the truth.
Yeah, because I had a big issue with how do you make Judge and I singled out Judge because it's a Yankee channel.
Yes,
but he's not. If you can't play and you haven't like they always say for eligible players when we talk about these numbers with the amount of a bats that they've had. I'm sorry, you have to be an active player to be an all-star.
Yeah.
If he had just gotten hurt this week, fine.
That's understandable.
But if you haven't reached X amount of games played, then you're not an all-star. You're not eligible. I think that's and it's going to seem like I don't know if it's coming off as being anti-Judge. Believe me, it's not. I just think it's a flaw in the process of the All-Star game.
It is a flaw in the process. And overall, I unfortunately, with fan voting, the most popular players are going to be voted in regardless. That's, I think, the biggest flaw when it comes to Pro Bowl voting in the NFL, All-Star voting in the NBA, All-Star voting in the MLB. It's always going to be the most popular players among the sport. Whether they're healthy, or having an up year or a down year. So that's the unfortunate part. It's not like, I mean, obviously the final voting comes in, they decide, but no, I don't. If you're unhealthy, you should not be selected for the All Star game. You should have an easy replacement.
You know,
Okay, so I have to. I don't want to get off the All Star break topic, but
yeah.
apparently Michael K just backtracked on that comment that he made
No,
about the NBA.
all right. Let's go over that. What do you got?
Okay, so Michael K.
Because you realize you opened a can of worms now.
Michael K. 19 minutes ago, I spoke of a rumor yesterday on TMKS that Anthony Volpe would not play second base in the minors. Sounded unlike him, so I checked further today, and there's absolutely no truth to it whatsoever. He never refused to work at second. We'll speak more of it today at 1 p.m. on ESPN New York. To me, it sounds like he pissed some people off in the organization. Like, why are you letting that get out?
That is the absolute backtrack. Now it's leading me more to believe that what he heard the first time was true.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. Look, I don't like really diving into rumors unless it's all for fun and games and laughter. But this is really seeming like Boone's really, that Volpe's put his foot down. He thinks this is the problem. I don't want to blame Volpe, right?
Right.
That'd be the same as me going, I don't sit second chair. I'm the fucking host. I don't care who sits in the first chair, second chair, third chair when we're all doing a show. Right? But you don't have the cachet as a major league ball player to dictate your role. Shut down the fucking ego. Learn how to play the position before you cement your feet in there.
100%.
How do you, with the career numbers you have the audacity to say, I'm not learning another position? What level of stupidity have you reached? Or are you so much, being coveted and coddled by Boone that you think that you could just say and do whatever the fuck you want with no ramifications? You have more important people to answer to than your manager. That's the fan base that shows up to see you every day. They may expect excellence. We demand it.
Yeah. Itchy Nuts, I want to go 2 comments. He says, Boone getting fired after the season. He has 1 year left. His strike wiping that out. His strike will wipe that out, no doubt. He's not getting another deal. I disagree. I mean, he has more lives. He has more than 9 lives. He has more lives.
Oh, yeah.
He has more lives. He's got more lives than Garfield. He's got more lives than Garfield, so he's sticking around. Itchy Nuts, remember Michael K. slamming Boone after a second playoff loss to the Astros. He got a new deal, and all of a sudden Boone is not at fault. Well, yeah, he said that Boone wasn't at fault during this Yankee struggle because of the injuries. So of course he's going to make excuses. We all know who he's paid by. We all know who he works for. And to me, as Donald likes to use this phrase, the Yankees have a bunker mentality. They kind of like ran like the mafia. It's like in the mafia, it's like if somebody else knows the business of the mafia, it's like you gotta backtrack. You got to get rid of that information immediately. I'm not saying anybody has to get gotten rid of, but essentially it's the mafia mentality. Like, why does he know this? He's on the outside. Why does he know this? So I think the Yankees are operating that same principle where Michael K knows something that somebody told in the organization told him about it, and then Michael K obviously spewed it out to the masses. And now he's backtracking because somebody in the organization got pissed off. And they probably told him, backtrack it, do a complete 180, take a step back.
No, you got pulled into the front office and says, shut your mouth, fix this, or else. Is the last thing that Katie wants to do or should do is get himself on the outer circle. Because he's got the radio show he's got to look out for.
Yeah.
And he's the TV voice. So he has to protect himself.
Yeah.
And he really fucked up putting this out there.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
He messed up big time. Especially that he had to make a retraction before he even got on the air.
Oh, yeah. But literally before his next show. Didn't even last 2 shows.
But yeah, Luca, I think this is only the tip of the iceberg on this story.
It probably is, but
I may have to pay attention at 1:00 to see what the fuck he has to say. And I don't like listening to him.
No, I don't either. I
might wait for the clip, to be honest with you, because
yeah, it's like, why would you, sitting there listening to him for 3 hours is going to be and ice is just going to be like hurting your ears. It's going to be like, oh my god, I got to turn this off, but you're going to wait for the information that you need.
Yeah, because let's be honest, we all understand the media. He can't lead with this story. He's going to let it simmer and get his views up.
Yes.
So this is not going to be what was discussed right off the bat.
He's going to be what he's going to say.
He's going to be talking about the game and with pitching and he's going to drag it out because it's not specifically a Yankees show. I'm sure that the whole, the Brunson surgery and all that's going to come into play. Like, there's a lot going on in New York sports, the World Cup. Yeah, he's going to drag that story out until midway through the show, until he has no choice because the callers are all logging in. But we do appreciate all of you logging in and checking us out today. First and foremost, you guys are absolutely goated. In our eyes, appreciate everybody that comes and hangs out in the chat. If you want, you can also hit that sub button, hit that like button, share this out, your friends, your family. Strangers on the corner. I'm Uncle Tats here with Luca. Donald, hope you're enjoying your vacation. Also, don't forget to tune in tomorrow, 6 p.m. Chris Northrup will be back on the short porch with a special guest from Heart and Hustle Sports. .com. They'll be discussing some great things. So make sure you tune in to Chris Northrup to help support her show. You guys have been really doing great backing her up in the work that she's done. So let's keep that going. We'll be back Friday, 10:15 a.m. as always. Just remember to wear those pinstripes of pride and play hard.